This is what I think about Americans. Okay, first of all, I have never been to America. I don't think I ever will go there as long as I'm afraid of flying. But I have met Americans in other countries than America because I have never been there. And I studied history and language in St. Petersburg, Russia. That was in 1998 to 2000, I think it was. And I met quite a few Americans at that school. And, they were not your stereotypical Americans wearing oversized t-shirts, sneakers, and a baseball cap. No, they had shirts, and the girls had skirts, and they were very properly well dressed. So how did you distinguish? How could you distinguish an American? Simply by their behavior. Yes. Americans, as I pictured them, as I learned to know them, they were very outgoing and social, and they were not very shy. They could, in the cafeteria at the school, they were always very loud. When they talked, when the Americans came through the door, it was like, "Hey, man, how are you doing? Hey, what are you going to do in the weekend? I think I'm going gambling. Are you going gambling to a casino?" Like, and the other ones, mainly, they were Japanese and like Europeans from Belgium and Germany, France. They were quite different. They would sit in the corner, like a little bit shy, talking about various topics. So they were different. So I think those Americans, they were more like open-minded and loud. If you travel with the train along the Mediterranean in the summer, there's a high probability that you will meet Americans. You hear their voices from the far. You hear their voices, easily hear their voices because they speak loud. They talk very loud. That's my chewing gum. I've met them. I shared a compartment with me and my family. Shared a compartment with two young American girls, and they had a very loud conversation about their holidays and about their travel experience. And they talked about where they. Do you remember when we rode that bus in Ecuador? Oh, it was fun. It was an adventure. And I wanted really to join the conversation, but I'm shy, so I didn't do it. I'm a shy guy. Also, I met other Americans on the train. Did not socialize with them. Americans abroad. They have this. They could have easily get in trouble. They could have problems because they. Most of them, they do not realize that not everyone speaks English. They have this idea that everyone should speak English. There should be signs in English, so they don't bother learn other languages. And in many countries, like in Sweden, like in Holland, almost everyone speaks fluent English. But in Italy, actually, I remember at Florence railway station, SMN, there was a ticket booth. At the ticket sales, there was a long queue. It was horrible. It was warm. It was hundreds of people waiting in line to buy tickets. There was, I think there was 4 different cashier desks. And only 2 were open, although the whole railway station was packed with tourists. So it was very slow. And we're supposed to buy tickets to Rimini from Florence, and we almost missed the train. But because there were automatic ticket vending machines outside at the platforms, and I didn't know you could buy your ticket there. But we stood in line there. I wanted to buy a ticket from the ticket sales from the clerks, from the cashier ladies. And at one cashier, there was a small sign. Sorry, no English. At Florence, it's one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, and the ticket vendors, they don't speak English, so that was very strange. I saw lots of Americans there, and they were so confused. One guy asked me, "Hey, please, can you help me to buy a ticket for La Spezia? I don't know how I will miss my train." And I showed him these automatic vending machines and ticket machines. So no problem. It took 5 minutes to buy a ticket. So all these people, they stood in line and waiting to buy tickets from these clerks, but that was all in vain. I drove a cab in Stockholm, Sweden for 6 years. Met a few Americans. They were passengers in my cab. Especially remember one occasion was an elderly couple and their middle-aged son. Supposed to pick them up. I picked them up at the Central Railway Station, and I drove away. Started to drive away, and this older guy in the back seat said, "Ho, ho, ho, ho!" And his wife, his elderly wife, she took a long time. It took a long time for her to get into the car, so she was still on the street trying to get into the car. This middle-aged guy, he said, he was so happy because he said, "You're actually our first Swedish driver." This was not the first time they took a cab. Actually, they took a cab to the old town every day, and this was their first Swedish driver. They only had met drivers from the Middle East before that. So. And I met another guy. I also drove into the old town, and he was very social, outgoing guy. And this was in the 90s, and he wanted to buy this. He wanted to make a phone call, and he wanted to buy these phone cards that you used at the time, and he did not know where to buy them. I told him you can buy them in any convenience store. And he said, "Can you drive me to one of those convenience stores so I can buy a card, payphone card?" And then I told him that actually I have a phone card and I can sell it to you. And he was so happy about that. And this phone card had a photo of a ice hockey team, and he had said, "You son of a gun, ice hockey team." So I really made that guy's day. Also remember, I drove a couple of New Yorkers. They were late to their cruise ship, so they were in a hurry. And they told me, "Step on it," like we say in New York. That meant that I had to drive very fast so they didn't miss the cruise ship. And they also told me that my taxi cab was the cleanest they ever saw. I think that means that the taxi cabs in New York City are not that clean. I also had a very unpleasant experience with an American. It was an African American, a black guy, and I was supposed to drive him to a bar. We arrived at the bar. He said to me, "You wait here. Stop the meter. I'm going to check out that bar." And I told him, "No way. I'm not turning off the meter unless you pay me." But he thought that he could go into the bar, check out the bar, then decide whether he was going to pay me or go further. So I drove him to the hotel, and he no tips, very rude. Was a jerk, complete jerk. Not all Americans are nice guys. Also, there are bad seats. But in general, I like Americans. They are social and outgoing people.